Hello folks, Eamon McAuley here, Ardoyne boxing historian, former ex-pro fighter, back with another wee chat about boxing. It's been a while. Today I want to talk about one of my heroes, the Cincinnati Cobra, Ezzard Charles. Ezzard Mac Charles, he is often regarded as the greatest light heavyweight in history. Charles defeated numerous Hall of Fame fighters in 3 different weight divisions. Charles was a world heavyweight champion 1949 to 1951. And made 8 successful title defences. He stood at 6 foot tall. Charles boxed for 2 decades as a pro. But he was also a top class amateur, winning many Cincinnati, Chicago and San Francisco Golden Gloves. Ezzard Charles was posthumously inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in the inaugural class in 1990. Ezzard Charles was born in Lawrenceville, Georgia and grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was greatly inspired by the boxers Kid Chocolate and Joe Louis. Just like my hero Harry Greb, Charles fought the best boxers in 3 different weight divisions: middleweight, light heavyweight and heavyweight. Although he never won the light heavyweight title, the ring has rated him as the greatest light heavyweight of all time, and so would I. Ezzard turned pro in 1940 and went undefeated in his first 17 fights. His first loss was against a world-class middleweight, Ken Overling. But victories over Teddy Yarous and heavily avoided Charlie Burley put Charles as a top contender in the middleweight division. However, World War II broke out, which would eventually bring his career to a halt. Upon his return from the war, Charles resumed his boxing, moving up to light heavyweight and scoring many wins against notable light heavyweight and heavyweight contenders, including Archie Moore 3 times, Jimmy Bivens 4 times, Joey Maxson 5 times, and also Lloyd Marshall twice. The hard-hitting Elmer Ray handed Charles his only loss upon his return, which he later avenged. Shortly after his knockout of Archie Moore in their 3rd and final meeting, tragedy struck. On February the 20th, 1948, Charles fought a young contender named Sam Berardi, knocking him out in round 10. Berardi died of his injuries that he sustained. Charles was so devastated that he was close to giving boxing up. But a need to provide for his family, along with encouragement from the Berardi's family, convinced him to continue. Despite being the top contender for the light heavyweight title, Ezzard was unable to secure a title shot, so he decided to move up to heavyweight. After beating Joe Baxley by knockout and Johnny Hayes, Charles won the recently vacated NBA World Heavyweight crown by outpointing Jersey Joe Walcott over 15 rounds on June the 22nd, 1949. Ezzard made 3 defences before facing his idol, Joe Louis. Joe had retired but was forced out of retirement due to troubles with the IRS tax. Joe took the fight purely for the money and was clearly outpointed by Ezzard Charles. Charles was now recognised as both the undisputed and lineal world heavyweight champion. In Charles' 9th defence of his heavyweight crown, he faced off against a boxer he had beat twice, Jersey Joe Walcott. Charles was leading up until the 7th round when Walcott unleashed a powerful uppercut which landed flush on Charles' chin, knocking him cold. Walcott became the oldest man to ever win the world heavyweight title at the age of 37. Charles then reeled off 3 wins and challenged Walcott for the title, this time losing a close 15-round decision that most people thought he won. It was highly controversial. Walcott was lose his title to Rocky Marciano, and nearly 2 years after losing to Walcott, Charles would challenge Rocky Marciano for his old title, losing in a close, rough, tough scrap over 15 rounds. The fight with Marciano was so good that 4 months later they went at it again. In another thrilling fight, Marciano, despite his nose being nearly split in half, stopped Charles in the 8th round. The fight was awarded the ring's 1954 Fight of the Year. Unfortunately for Charles, like many boxers, financial problems forced him to continue fighting. Age and damage sustained during his career caused Charles to begin a sharp decline following his title fights. Overall, Charles lost 13 of his final 23 fights. He finally retired in September 1959. He finished with a record of 95 wins, 25 losses and 1 draw. Recent boxer James Toney credits Charles as the inspiration for his variation of the shoulder roll. It was said that Charles toned down his aggressiveness after the death of Sam Baruti. Ezra Charles ended up completely disabled and had to be pushed around in a wheelchair. He ended up in a care home and he died on May 28th, 1975 in Chicago. He was only 53. In 1976, Cincinnati honoured Charles by changing the name of Lincoln Park Drive to Ezra Charles Drive. This was the street he lived in during the height of his career. There is also a commemorative stamp honouring Ezra Charles. A statue of Ezra Charles sits in Ezra Charles Park in Cincinnati. In 2002, Charles was ranked at number 13 on the Ring's list of the 80 best boxers of the last 80 years. I think they're all going to be a bit over the top about Alexander Usyk because he beat a few Brits. Who has he really beat? Although I like him, I think he's a great fighter. I think he's a terrific human being. But who has he beat? For all this talk. The Americans aren't boxing no more. The heavyweights, they're not boxing. They're not in their gyms in America. Boxing's on its knees in America. And it's damn worldwide. So there's no Yanks boxing no more. When you think down the decades how many Brits there was, you had Tommy Farr, you had Don Cockle, you had Henry Cooper, you had Joe Bugner, and then you had Frank Bruno. That's come back maybe 70, 80 years, but you've got them all the Brits all lined up now. Where were they, so, and you've got that Canadian gold medalist Lennox Lewis also. So yeah, top 10 places I boxed in no particular order. I boxed in a venue, I can't remember the name of it, in Princess Street, Edinburgh. It was a very plush venue. I stopped Malcolm Gowans in 2 rounds, but I forget the name of it. I boxed at Main Road, the home of Manchester City Football Club, 7 times. My club Cavendish, that's where we had our annual shows. Boxed at Windsor Park. I boxed at the Ulster Hall 4 times. I boxed at the York Hall Bethnal Green twice. As an amateur and as a pro. I boxed in the King's Hall 3 times. I boxed in the Grosvenor House Hotel twice. I boxed in the Hilton Hotel. I boxed at Wembley Arena twice as an amateur and as a pro. I boxed at the Royal Albert Hall. I mean, these places were out of this world. Honestly, these were incredible. A boxer, it's a great life. I mean, you see the world and you're respected. And you're running about these places that I just named with millionaires and multi-millionaires and celebrities, and it's a whole different world. I want to go boxing again. I miss it. I miss all this. Anyway, take care and God bless, and hopefully I'll be back soon. I don't know. See how it goes.